Hey, what's up guys? This is Anthony from AnthonysCustoms, and for this review, we are looking at the SH Figuarts Buffalo Man from Kinnikuman. Now this guy, he's essentially the same as all of the other figures. They all basically have the same articulation and the same sculpt style. He does have some unique accessories, and he has a really nice paint job. Unfortunately, as you can see right now, the paint job doesn't have any shading on the back. That's pretty disappointing. However, on the front, the shading is phenomenal. That is how you do flesh tones. It looks really good. It reminds me a lot of the old Soda Street Fighter figures, which were fantastic. Now, I don't know if it's obvious right now, but his upper body is much better done than his lower body in terms of the shading. So, this guy's got some hit or miss type of things. Some of the shading's fantastic. In some places, it doesn't exist, and in some places, it's just kind of a problem. However, he does have some things that make up for that, mostly in the sculpt. He has a particularly nice musculature. The anatomy looks really good on this guy. His muscles are not quite as oddly sculpted as some of the other figures from the line. He's really nicely sculpted, so that's a good thing. And he's got some size to him, so that's always a good thing too. So let's get him off the stand and take a closer look at him. Alright, so this guy stands roughly 18 centimeters tall, which makes him just about 7 inches, which makes him just a little bit shorter than the Akuma Shogun figure. So, still very large, but not quite as big as that guy. And as I said, the shading's really nice. As you can see on the upper torso, it looks really good. Nice flat flesh tones with decent shading. And then the lower legs, it's kind of more just like the whole thing is shaded rather than only in the recesses. So it still looks good, but it's a little bit off. And then on the back, I don't know if this figure is just a bad batch or what, but there's no shading at all on the back of the figure. So if you don't look at the back, it's not a problem, but if you do, it's problematic. Now the sculpt on this guy, the back is a really good example of why this is so good. If you look at the arms in particular, he's got really nice musculature. It's very organic looking. It doesn't look kind of, I don't even know how to describe it, kind of flattened out like some of the figures often do. It just looks really good, and it continues around to the front. You can see his chest. It's not like a shelf chest, it's an actual pectoral shape, so that's good. You can see that the shoulders are behind the neck from the portrait, so that's a really good thing. Just really organic looking muscles, which is something I really appreciate because we don't get that too much in a lot of our superhero built figures, so it's a good thing to see. Now he does have some nice contrast in the glossy parts of black here with the more flat skin tones, the matte trunks. Then we have the silver metallic on those parts. The shading in the hair is executed nicely, and the paint job on the horns, I guess we'll call them horns, I almost call them tusks. They're horns. That looks pretty good also. So let's get into the accessories. We have an alternate couple of faces. So the first face is just this standard one that you can already see, which looks good. It's a fine standard face. Then we have this one, which is a fine yelling face. Very nicely sculpted, nicely painted. And then we also have this one, which is an I don't feel so good face, which looks pretty good too. And that just kind of goes into the hair, kind of like the way the D-Arts Mega Man, the front part of the helmet comes off. That's how the hair works on this guy. So you can just pop the hair off and replace the face. No problem at all. And then we have some interchangeable hands. So we have the fist hands that he comes with in the package. And then we have this hand, which I'm guessing is like an iconic pose hand for him. And then we have 2 more hands, not the full set of 4 that we normally get. We have these hands, which are gripping hands, and they are sculpted nicely. And they have a nice tight joint. And the joint's a little bit more practical than some of the other guys, but it's still kind of like you're not really going to be able to use it too much, but they are included. And then the last bit of accessories we have are some interchangeable horns. So you can see the horns that are there, full size or normal size horns. Then we have the broken off ones, and they just peg in on either side, so they're not side specific. And then we also have a really long one that is kind of like chipped up, and then we have a medium long one, which is normal. And they're all interchangeable however you want to do it. I don't know what's accurate, but that's up to you when you pose your figure. So let's get into the articulation. It's basically the same as all of the other ones. The head is on a double ball peg on top of the neck. The neck is on a single ball peg. The hair is really stiff though, so don't expect the head to move around too much. We have the butterfly joint, which gives the arms plenty of opportunity to come across the chest. They work pretty well on him, so I'm okay with that. You get some gapping, but that's going to happen with a butterfly joint. So pretty good range of motion there. You have your ball peg to ball hinge combination for the shoulder, which gives him pretty good range. And the way the peg is set, or the hinge is set in the shoulder, it doesn't look too bad. Oftentimes you see that ball hinge way more than you should from the front, and for him you don't really see it, so that's pretty good. We do get our bicep swivel up there, which isn't great because there's nothing here, but it's okay. And then you do also get that swivel in the elbow down here if you really want to use it. You do have a double hinged elbow, and you can rotate the arm around at that hinge if you leave it straight, so you can kind of give them a forearm rotation if you need it, but you probably won't be able to do that in too many poses. The wrist is on a ball hinge, so you're going to just be able to rotate the hand independently of the forearm. The ab crunch is that hinge ball peg combination that we've seen a few times now, and it works pretty well on him. You can lean him pretty far forward, and you can lean him pretty far back, and for some reason, he should lean side to side and rotate, but that ball is really stuck. So he should have more rotation and more range of motion than I'm able to show you in this figure. Hopefully yours has that. The lower abdomen is a floating piece on top of I don't know why they do this, another abdomen, which is just a ball peg into the lower torso that lets it rotate and lean a little bit. The hips have the hinged ball peg that we're very familiar with, and that ball peg goes into the socket, which it's basically just a cap that has a peg going through it down into the lower part of the thigh, and it allows you to do that, which basically allows you to bring the leg up into some different poses. It's really ugly though. I hate that joint, especially on this guy. His hips are not very well executed. In fact, you can't put his legs straight down while having them tucked in. They have to go out at an angle, so it's not the best design. You do get a thigh swivel, double jointed knee, which is kind of limited by the shin things there. It has the knee swivel, but again, it's basically useless. Then he has these standard ankles that we've seen a few times on these guys, which I really do like. We have the rotation, the hinge. Of course, his is limited, and it's really stiff. Hopefully you can hear that. Be careful. When you hear that noise, that means the plastic could break, and it also means it will eventually loosen if you keep messing with it. So you might want to get a little bit of shock oil and put that in there, or just be extra careful. But they are limited a little bit, and you do get your ankle rocker, so that's pretty good. So all in all, it's a pretty good figure. The hips are a little weird, the ankles are a little problematic, and there's no shading on the back. Otherwise, it's really good. So you're going to have to choose if you really think it's worth getting it. If I was collecting the line, I would get it just because he's a really cool looking figure. Despite the problems, I guess I kind of recommend it either way. So there you go. Thanks for watching, guys. Make sure you subscribe to the channel so you can see my upcoming figure reviews, custom figures, and other good stuff. And in the meantime, keep collecting.